What's up, guys? This is Bear Evans coming at you. So today I'm going to talk to you and show you about my Tier 2 system, which is my harness and utility belt. But first I'm going to meet up with a buddy of mine who's showing me some property that I'm going to be able to start camping at, which is going to be an awesome new location. He's got 8 acres butted up against another 80 that his family owns. So that'll be a good chunk of terrain for me to be able to explore and utilize up here on top of one of the hills in the area. So I'll get right back to you and we can dive right in. Stay tuned. Okay guys, so we're going to dive right into this. If you hear some background noise, it's because the dryer's going, and I've also got a pot of water on the stove for my dinner, so I apologize for that. This video may also be a little darker. I'm filming super early in the morning, and my kitchen lights only get so bright. So, you're viewing right now my Tier 2 system. So this is a utility belt with a harness system. The harness is just a standard military surplus. Everybody's seen them. Probably most everybody has one by now. Really great just for bracing the load-bearing capabilities of everything. Just keeps the belt from sliding down your hips and secures the drop leg pouch, which I'll show you the contents of later. Really great. Pretty much one size fits all. These things are really good. I'm a pretty big guy and it fits me comfortably, and I haven't even maxed the straps out at all really on the front. I keep the back maxed out a little more just because that's where I prefer the harness to ride, or the shoulder straps, whatever you want to call it. So you're also viewing this from the back. It was the best way to get everything to sit proper. So on my right hip is my knife. Yes, this is a gigantic knife. I get a lot of questions about why I carry a big knife. Well, because of where I live. So this is this is a timber rattler from, I forget where I actually bought it from. The company's name is Timber Rattler. This is their Rattlesnake Bowie or something like that. When I bought it, I did not know it was actually going to be this big. It was an accident. The dimensions were slightly off on their website. I was looking for a knife that was, they only had the actual blade length listed, so that was the full length of the knife that I thought I was buying. But it was a happy accident. I actually genuinely enjoy this knife. Really big, but it fits really well in the hand. It's a full tang. Mine came wicked sharp. I know some people have issues with them coming kind of dull, or the blade's actually kind of dinged up, but, oh, excuse me. It is a TR65 surgical stainless steel. I've only sharpened this thing a handful of times, and it retains an edge pretty good. But I love the big knife because where I live in the north, we actually get really thick brush and rainforest type areas. And it's great just for hacking through a lot of the stuff if you don't want a machete, which I typically don't carry my machete on every outing. I only take it on specific outings when I know for a fact I'm going to need it. But it's just a really nice, good, beefy, meaty knife. I mean, I've done so much with it, you know, it's really hard to list everything. It's got this extra finger grip down here for more control. Which, surprisingly, for how big the knife is, you actually do have some pretty decent control over it. Keep in mind, though, I've got pretty big hands. Like I said before, I'm a big guy. I'm about 6'1", 250 pounds. So I'm not sure what all the dimensions are for everything, every piece of gear that I have. So just kind of try and base anything off of that. But yeah, so great solid knife. The only thing I did not like is actually not the knife, it's the sheath. So the first time I ever cleaned this knife, and I always oil my blades and then wipe the oil off just to keep them fresh, keeps them from rusting. When I put it into the sheath actually rubbed its varnish onto the blade. I don't know if it was because the oil was still too damp or if it's just a bad varnish, but it turned my blade like a spotty, ugly brown. I had to go through and hard polish it with some stainless steel, steel wool on the stainless steel. And it did a pretty good job. Like, you can still see bits and pieces here and there, especially on this side. It really just kind of mucked the blade up, but I haven't really had another issue with it, so I don't know if whatever was on the inside is just gone now or what. And then I do really love this over the guard hand snap. Keeps the blade really, really secure if you take a tumble or if you're ever afraid of your blade falling out. But the bottom of the sheath is starting to come apart. I'm going to have to try and throw some stitching or something through that, something to keep it together. And then up here, where the belt loop attaches to the sheath is really kind of hinky. It's just not super strong right there. The actual belt loop is good leather. It's good thick leather. Nice big strand of it. Yeah, I mean, it's weirdly pinched. It's got these two really small rivets in there, so it's just not great. Next, we've got my excuse me, Paracord donut. Color wasn't anything in particular. It was just a 100-foot hank of cord that I picked up ages ago, and I've slowly just dwindled it down. There's probably still a good 80 feet on here. I haven't used it too much. This is really more of a, oh crap, I need paracord now, and the design lets you just grab an end and then you just pull it and it unravels. So really, really great. If you don't know how to make a paracord donut, definitely look it up. It's a fun, creative way to store your paracord, carry your paracord. I've got it hooked on with one of these belt loops. I actually took these loops, I've got 4 of them on here, off of my old duty belt, and put them on here. They're really, really nice for when I'm carrying this along with my pack. Excuse me, sorry. Because then I can clip these onto my belt and keep my pants up, because sometimes when you're wearing these things, if you're wearing it too low, it'll just start pushing your pants down even if you're wearing a belt. So, excuse me, I'm sorry guys. Oh, real quick, before I forget, so the front of this is actually a buckle. It's a super heavy duty plastic buckle. You'll see a lot of them with the old school, GI style kind of hook loops. Hook it into itself and then just kind of holds in place with tension. But I like the buckle. I've never had to replace this. It's going to be a pain in the ass when I need to, just finding the right size. But it's also got these tabs on the side for keeping your excess belt just kind of tethered down and in line. And the harness hooks into these eyelet rivet things. The only thing I don't like about the harness is the design of how these things hook in, because these things come popped and undone so much. I don't know if mine are just kind of worn out, but it's definitely a pain in the ass when you're trying to do any type of a lot of like on and off with the harness or anything, because these things just pop on and off, on and off. Let's see. After the donut, we've got this back pouch. I believe the pouch is a check pouch. I've had this for a number of years, probably going on 8 or 9 years now. It's nothing really special. I don't really like how it closes, but it does the job, and I don't think I've ever had an issue with it popping open, but the inside has 3 little compartments, and I just keep some, necessities in here. I've got some emergency bars of chocolate. I really try and only touch on this as like a first aid kit almost. So the chocolate is for emergencies. If you're either running low on food, someone's going into shock and they need to just kind of occupy themselves, somebody's starving, whatever. Zip ties. These are 45-pound test zip ties, so they're not the strongest, but they're stronger than most. And they'll get the job done for really whatever you need. I've got some bug spray in here. I'll just pull everything out. zip ties, bug spray. This little thing it's stupid to look at, but it still works really, really well. It's stupid to look at because back when I was younger, I had it mounted on an airsoft gun, and I wrapped it in black electrical tape, and it looks like crap now. But this is what do they call them? A monoscope. It's just a really small monocular. That's it. You just look through it, and it just magnifies everything by, I think, ×5. So it's not a lot, but it's enough if you're just kind of doing a light scout, which is really all it would be needed for in this. I've got actual binoculars that I typically carry with me as well, but it's just a nice little backup to have, especially if I'm only wearing the harness, in which case I'll still probably have my binoculars, but if anything happens to them, I know I've got some type of spare. And in case of a severe emergency, you could break this thing open and use the magnifying lens to start a fire. Alcohol prep pads, just sterile pads. I always have a handful of these just wedged in anywhere I can, anywhere they'll fit. They're just too good to not, keep a bunch of around. There's so many uses for them. And then just a standard black cotton bandana. Let's see, a little hank of paracord. I don't remember what that was for, but we'll leave it in there. A couple of mini glow sticks. They've got the caps on the end that you put on, and then you can tie, oh, that's what it was for. You can tie a lanyard through it. I actually used some of these not too long ago, and that's what this is from. So, always good to keep glow sticks. I've got big ones that I keep in my car. A couple of very big ones that I keep in my car, and I don't remember if I have any in my actual gear or not. I'll figure that out when I'm going through it in my next video. But yeah, in case of emergencies, and you're trying to signal, or if you're trying to trail mark, or if you've got kids with you, whatever, there's 1,000 uses for them, and you can definitely always, keep a few extras on you. And wet wipes. Again, if there's room for them, I'll try and stuff them in wherever I can, because they're so, whatever you need to use them for, if you're just trying to, clean yourself up a little bit, or if you go to the bathroom, or you're trying to clean a wound or anything before you use the steri pads, it's just nice to have. Oh, I've got a big magnifying lens. This is just a redundancy fire starter. I actually don't typically keep this in here, but it was the best place to keep it for now. So until I think of where I want to put it, it'll just stay in this pouch. And then I've got a little thing of dental floss, just to use as emergency cordage, dental care if you're really that finicky while you're out in the field. But it's great to use for sutures. The only reason I don't have this with my actual med kit is because I have actual thread in there. This is just a redundancy. And I believe that's everything from that pouch. So next, we'll move on to the canteen. This is one of my two main go-to canteens. This one always stays on the utility belt. The other one always stays with my pack. I don't remember everything that's in here, I don't think. I've got a wet fire tab. I've got water purification tabs. Always keep some form of water purification with you. I boil a lot of my stuff, but just in case, if it's really gammy water, or some people, I guess, have like sensitivities to different water. I've never had that problem, but you never know. Book of matches, which I'll probably replace here soon. I try and circulate out any type of fire starters that don't get used like every few months, and these have probably been in here for 4 months now. So they just, they rub down, the strikers rub down. You can't really strike them off anything anymore, so they just kind of wear out. And then I've got this spoon, fork, can opener, and knife. It's a Coleman brand. I was going to say Swiss Army, but Coleman brand eating utensils. And they do pull apart, as you can see, pretty easily, which is nice. That way you're not trying to, flip back and forth. They're small, but in case of an emergency, or if it's, if you're just trying to travel light, they work really great. And then in this, we've got a couple of lighters. See if they work. That one does. Oh, this is a big flame one. That's always fun. Just again, fire starting redundancies. I keep these with the Canteen for, you know, hardcore emergencies. I do like to try and practice my bushcraft skills with the fire steel and everything. But you know, if you're really trying to get a fire going quick or anything like that, yes, I know they're, well, one's a Bic lighter. This one's just cheap. I don't know, dollar store one. So if you watched my welcome back video, I touched base on it in that video, so go check it out. But I have really terrible luck with Bic lighters because I somehow always manage to break them. I don't know how, but it happens. So I almost always have a Zippo in my pocket with my EDC anyways, so again, just redundancies, or if, you know, somebody else needs a lighter or some type of fire starting or whatever, you know, I've got something that I can give them. The Canteen case, again, I believe is military surplus. This I actually think I got from a family member who was serving in the Marines, and I think this is one of his extras that he sent home for me from Iraq, or sorry, Afghanistan. I believe the Marines were in Afghanistan. Typical GI style stainless steel canteen. One question I get a lot is, do I keep water in all of my canteens? Yes, I do, but it gets circulated out probably every month, just so the water doesn't get stale. Yes, stale water's a thing. No, it doesn't really do anything to you, but sometimes it can taste funky just from sitting in the steel all that time, and you know, it's nice to just have fresh water, and you know it's fresh water. So typical GI Canteen cup. It's not one of the fancy ones. It's got like the measurements or anything inside. A little worn. I bought this Canteen cup lid, and it doesn't really fit all that well, so I don't think I have the right canteen for it. I think I bought the wrong lid, but it's still nice to just kind of set on top when it's in the fire, and you know, keep ash or bugs or whatever out. I'll have to find one that actually sits well, but it is nice just because it's got that straining holes, so if you're making rice or pasta or what have you, you can just drain out the extra water. It also has the little windproof stove or whatever you want to call it. It's wedged on there really freaking good, tell you what. So you just set it like that, put a fuel tab or something under it, and then you just set your canteen or your canteen cup on top of it. I actually really like this particular canteen because it's got the screw top with the chain. A lot of them, there's a little water in there. I just used this for a hike not too long ago. Yeah, see, like I can smell it. It's kind of musty. Just give that a good wash out while I've got it out now. It won't hurt you. It doesn't smell or taste great. Yeah, so this, you know, is always nice. You can just, you don't have to worry about losing something, you know, from your gear. Some of the canteens that I've used in the past, the lids were always kind of a pain in the ass to get on and off, and sometimes you fumble it. And that's the last thing you want to try and deal with in the middle of the night. And last but not least, we've got my drop leg pouch. Why a drop leg pouch? Well, I really wanted originally something that was just a last minute, you know, kind of I'm in deep shit thing, you know, don't ever take anything out of it. At one point, everything that was in here was in my haversack, which I'll still sometimes transform over depending on what I'm doing, depending on how heavy of a day hike I'm going into, or you know, anything like that. So I ended up not making this 100% non-takeable from. Pretty close though. As you can see, I've got a few things here that I actually need to put back in my kit, being my knife sharpening kit and my knife. This is a Nagora whetstone It's a Japanese whetstone, nice small one, super fine grit. I don't remember what the grit is on it. I would have to look online, because everything on the label is actually, I think that's Japanese. Pretty sure it's Japanese. I've got this redhead diamond rod sharpener. Standard diamond rod sharpener, just like everything else. You flip it around, put it back in, tighten it down, and you're good to go. And then I've got this DC4. I actually don't know if I know how to say the name of this company. Is it Fallraven? Anyways, Swedish company. It looks like this. Everybody sees them. Most people have one. This is really, really great. It's got the diamond stone on the back and then the finer stone on the front. Vicks. Man, guys, I'll tell you what, it's too early. This mixed with the Nagura stone, or this mixed with the diamond rod sharpener, really get your knives shaving sharp. Really great combo, and none of them are super, super big that take up a ton of space. I mean, my entire knife kit, you know, is pretty much in the palm of my hand, fits completely anywhere. Really, really great for most tools. Kind of hard on axe heads, depending on how big the axe is, because then the DC4 and the whetstone are actually a little too small. But if you don't mind a tedious job, then have at it, and I'm sure it'll still do fine. So this drop leg pouch, I believe is a Condor drop leg pouch. I've picked this up a couple years ago. It's got the top flap access, which is Velcro, and then it's just got, you know, a little dump hole right here that you can just stuff your stuff into, and just a quick access pouch, or slot, whatever you want to call it. And then that tucks away nice. The whole drop leg pouch actually can unbuckle in case you want to just, you know, carry it as like a satchel or something, or if you need a quick release, you know, something snagged, you're trying to ditch the harness, you're trying to ditch this, whatever. But the leg strap is really nice on it. It's got this rubber built into the leg strap that keeps it from sliding up and down your leg. So I really wouldn't advocate wearing this with shorts because it'll rip your leg hair out. But other than that, it's really good. Fits, I think one size fits all, no problem. Like I said, I'm a big guy, and this strap is nowhere near maxed out to what it can be. And there's a little stretch and give to it, just to kind of cinch everything down and, you know, pinch it onto your leg without it actually pinching you. And the strap to the belt also adjusts pending your height. So on the side here, I've got three things, sorry. I've got a Sharpie and a pen. Around the pen is, I believe, 100 feet of number 36 bank line. I love this stuff. I carry the spool of it in my pack. You can get it relatively cheap. I think I picked mine up for like $15 from Amazon, and it was for I think a 250 or a 300 foot spool, whichever increment it goes around that number. And then I've got 50 feet of paracord, but on the paracord I've got it hooked up either end to these specialty carabiners. So you lock your paracord in here, and then you can actually tighten it down. It's really nice for if you're trying to hang something up. So you just open it up, lock your paracord in there, and then it's not going to get tugged out. It's all friction based, and I believe there's actually a spring in this that helps kind of pinch it. And then there's just a little carabiner hook on there. Just a quick, easy setup for if you want something really quick to throw up a tarp or a hammock or whatever, or you're trying to sling gear or something, whatever. They're just really nice. I think I got these for Christmas one year, so I don't know where to find them. I'm sure you can find them on Amazon or eBay, pretty much anywhere. They've actually got 2 different feeding holes to feed different types of line through. And then my bank line is actually wrapped around just the regular pen. I don't remember if I mentioned that or not. The bottom's got a drain hole, so if you get wet, it'll drain out, and both sides have molly webbing on it, so you can actually use this as a miniature like home hauling system. But I typically don't attach anything else to this side just because then it becomes too cumbersome on your leg. As is, I thought it would take more getting used to, but it really actually isn't that bad. You know, a lot of people think it gets snagged and hung up on a lot of stuff, but no more than you normally would just wearing pants or like cargo shorts or anything like that. I actually think it kind of defends your leg a little better because it's so sturdy. It just kind of brushes everything out. You know, you're not getting branches or anything hung up on cargo pockets or anything like that. So the front's got Velcro. I've just got a first aid symbol on there right now because I know this is my quick access first aid equipment, which I typically try and keep on top. Everything's kind of just thrown back in here. I was in here few hours ago, but obviously for the knife and everything. But oh yeah, so real quick, this knife was in my first video. It's a Nakota. I don't know that company at all. Go back and watch my first video. I talk about this knife a lot more. Moving on through, I've got a little leather Tinder pouch that a buddy of mine made me. He even stamped it with a bear. I don't know if you guys can see that. Hopefully you can. Fire steel. I changed the, whatever you want to call this, lanyard for it, after my last camping video when it was still tethered to my knife. So, big old fire steel. And this is actually my only big one that I have anymore. I managed to break one not too long ago. And then I think I gave my other one away. I had 3 at one point. So I need to order a few more of those. I'll shop around and see where some of the best places to get them from. If you guys have any suggestions, let me know. I'm always open for advice. So I've got my Sawyer water filter in here. This is the Sawyer Mini. Really love this thing. I've actually got 2 of them. I keep one on me in my gear, and then I put the other one in my fiance's bag. So this is really, really nice. It's got the screw threads in the back that you just screw this bag onto after you've filled it with water. Then you just squeeze the bag and it filters the water through this little tiny tube. You can also fit any, you know, water bottle or soda bottle or anything in there. I actually happen to have an empty soda bottle right here. And you can just thread it on just as simply as the bag. I do want to get another bigger bag for it, just for when I'm doing lighter camping stuff, because they compress down, they're super easy to travel with. This whole thing right here, I believe, is a liter. It was the liter or half liter. I think this is a half liter because this is a small bag. This is the one that came with the whole kit. I really love this thing. I've used it, I don't know, probably 5 or 6 times now. And I've never had an issue with it. I've never had an issue with it leaking around the seams or anything like that. So this is the cleaning plunger. You fill it with water, clean water, and then you backwash it through from the mouthpiece to clean it out. Because you don't want all that crap just sitting in here, because then the next time you filter water you might get impurities. So that's the mouthpiece. I've heard that you can hook some like Camelback hoses to it. So if you really wanted to get tricky and rig up something with a Camelback, you probably could, no questions asked. Maybe figure out a way to attach this to the tube on the bottom and then put like the mouthpiece on this, or I don't know. I've never done it. I might have to try that this summer and see what I come up with. But yeah, water filter, the Sawyer Mini is a great go-to. I think you can get it for $20 or $25 at most any locations. I've heard people say they can get them for like 15. that's probably a sale price if you're lucky. I have seen them upwards of like $35, $40. Don't spend that on this. It's not worth it. Well, I mean, it is worth it, but you can find it way cheaper at other places. So if you see this for more than like 25 bucks, like including shipping, then I wouldn't really go for it. You can probably find it cheaper. I've got a fresh, still sealed package of gauze. This is an emergency gauze. I do not ever pull from this for like the rest of my med kit. I've got a huge med kit that I'll show you in my actual gear, like my pack video. Yeah, this is, I'm in dire need gauze. And same goes for this bandage. This is a giant triangle bandage. You can use them for freaking anything. A lot of people actually don't know what these are anymore, and they're kind of hard to find. So it's 100% cotton. It's 35 inches by 50 inches by 35 inches. They're designed for wrapping bandages, wrapping a sling, and just any number of other things. They used to come standard in all the first aid kits around here in New York. I don't know why they ever stopped, because they're so great, they're so functional. You can use them for 1,000 different things, and they'll show you 2,000 actual uses. So if you can ever find these things, get them, and get as many as you can, because you know, I'm probably down to like 8 or 9 of them now, and without having to look online, I don't know where else to get them. I've not seen these things in stores in a very, very long time. Compass. I've got my good, what's it called, an engineering compass. It's got the sight lines and everything with the little thin wire in there. Just a good handheld compass. I've got 2 of them. I've got this, and I've got my map compass, which is that plastic backed flat compass. You can use this just as fine, but my flat compass actually fits in with some other gear, so I've got that in a separate place just to kind of spread out the redundancy. And I also always wear an analog watch when I'm out and about. So an analog watch, if you didn't know, you point the hour hand at the sun and split the difference between the hour hand and 12, and that's your north-south line. South will actually be what's between the hour hand and the 12, and that's for the northern hemisphere. Flip that if you're in the southern hemisphere. So yeah, just a good basic compass. Closes, latches shut. It's only a plastic body, so I have it in here with everything else kind of just tucked away in safety, so it doesn't really get bitched up too much. It's not like a metal military grade compass or anything like that. Oh, let's see, what else? Oh, waterproof container for my medical tape. Just, again, emergencies only. I never pull from this. It goes with the gauze and the bandage, and sometimes, you know, you just need medical tape to, you know, wrap a nick on your finger, whatever, you know. So I keep that in here. I've got an emergency little folder. Nice, sharp, wicked sharp. Really nice point. I kept this for first aid emergencies because it has such the sharp point, such a sharp, fine edge. Sharper than I keep most of my other knives, just because an edge this sharp can actually just fold over doing certain things, and you just, you know, you lose the sharpness way too quickly. It's got the little finger jimping here in the back, which it's such a small knife, but for any type of medical usage is really nice for that extra control. I mean, this thing is scalpel sharp. I've used this to, you know, pull thorns out. I've used this, I've actually used this to remove a tick once. Not ideal by any means, but it worked. You know, just really nice, good emergency little super scary sharp knife. Oh, I forgot the Sawyer also comes with this drinking straw. So you can hook this onto the end and lean into you know, any type of water and sip it like this. That way you're not plunging the whole bottom into gammy water. Radio. So I catch a lot of flack for this. A lot of people say, radios are unnecessary for, like bushcrafting and camping and everything. Well, yes, but this is also all of my emergency gear as well. I don't have separate kits. I don't use separate kits. I don't have a separate bug out bag from my camping pack. Like, that would be my bug out bag. So always have a radio in your emergency gear. On top of that, when I'm at camp, I like to listen to music. If I'm just relaxing in the evening, or if I'm just chugging away doing camp chores, sometimes I like to have music to just kind of go along with everything. This is a super cheap Sony AM FM ICF S10 MK2. It takes, what is it, 2 AA's. And it's, relatively small. The whole thing fits in my hand. The antenna's really good. Everywhere I've gone, I've been able to pick up at least probably 5 or 6 stations with this, and I've been to some pretty remote places with this thing. It's got the headphone port if you really want to wear headphones. I don't know why you would when you're out in the bush. That's kind of strange. But simple dial tuning, and then just on and off. So it's a nice rugged little piece of equipment. It's got the FM AM switch on the side. It's not bad, and the batteries last a long time in this. I think I swapped the batteries in and out of this maybe once every 4 months. Like, they just last forever in it. I can't imagine it's got too strong of a draw, or anything like that. So I'm trying to see if it told me anything on the back. It doesn't. But yeah, a really, really nice piece of equipment. And like I said, it's nice and small. That's really one of the main reasons why I carry this and why I chose this particular model. I wasn't going after any type of brand name or anything like that. It just happened to be a Sony, and it just happened to be this small. It ran off of 2 AA's. As I've said before in previous videos, I try and keep all of my battery-operated gear on either a AA or a AAA. The 2 super simple batteries, I try and, if I could, I'd have everything on either AA's or AAA's, just one or the other, but you can't always have your way with everything. Because I truly can't stand the, like the Crees, the 123s, just all the fancy ones, the stupid short little stubby ones. Why? Why make it so complicated? Why make it that much more expensive? Some of those batteries are like, okay, a 4-pack of AA's now is expensive. I don't know why you'd want to pay double that for a battery that lasts the same amount of time as a AA. It just seems silly to me. Save this for last. This is my old scouting gear, like Cub Scout days. This is the very first Cub Scout knife I ever had. Wicked sharp. It's got the knife, it's got a can opener, it's got an awl, and then I've got a fire steel with it. So I just keep that on, I don't know what these things are called. It's just, I've always known them as a key ring. Not like the twisty ones, but yeah, always great. And this is one of my go-tos for like whittling or anything like that. Just, fun little knife work. And then this is super closed up because the lid doesn't like to stay on because of the amount of stuff in there, as you can see from stuff falling out. But this is my actual first aid kit. So I've got like moist wipes in here, more alcohol prep pads. I've got a sewing kit with specific needles for doing sutures, like the curved ones. More moist wipes. I've got Neosporin, I've got a lighter, I've got more medical tape, I've got a pair of tweezers. I've got a mixed assortment of pills in here. This is like Advil, Tylenol. I think there's allergy pills in here, anti-diarrheal pills. There might be a couple of no, I think that's everything I put in here. And then this has a broken rubber band, which I just tied around it. I need to replace that. This is, I think, all just Band-Aids and, yeah. Oh, maybe not. Oh, so there's triple antibiotic in here, there's Imodium, there's some medical scissors. I had more in this than I thought. Another super sharp little knife, 2 zip ties, and then a little pocket handheld first aid survival thing. Yeah, Imodium, Neosporin, Band-Aids, and more alcohol prep pads and everything. So that's it for my Tier 2 system, guys. Hopefully there's some new ideas in this for you, or, you know, you guys have some new ideas for me. I really love this system so far. I haven't tweaked it much in, gosh, probably the better part of 2 years. I've not changed anything out of this for the most part. So, come on, you. There we go. Yeah, so it's a pretty great little system. I'm really happy with it. If you guys have any questions about it, or if you have any questions on where to get some of this stuff, all the military surplus stuff, I'll tell you right now, there's really no particular place. Just go to any surplus store, literally anywhere in the country, anywhere in the world probably, and just look at what they have. You know, that's how a lot of people get started. It's how a lot of people choose to go about. I know a lot of people only use military surplus stuff just because they like it so much over, you know, the regular brand name stuff. So it's not a bad idea to just, you know, kind of poke around your local area and see what's out there and what's available to you guys. I know a lot of people have asked me in the past on, you know, oh, where do you get this? Where do you get that? And it's just, you just got to look. You know, get creative with your searches online. And, you know, anytime I can't find something that I'm looking for, you know, there's forums everywhere. You know, any question that you have has probably been asked before. So usually there's an answer somewhere. But almost all of this gear you can find just, you know, in your typical places. Outdoor stores, military surplus, online, of course. So yeah, this has been all of my Tier 2 stuff that stays on the utility belt. There are a few things that kind of come and go. I've got a pouch with like my rain poncho in it that sometimes will come and go. Very rarely does anything else really come onto it that I don't already have. If I think of anything, I will put it in my next video because I'm sure I'll find something. Maybe a couple of somethings. But as always, guys, if you like the video, please hit that like button, subscribe, hit that little bell for alerts to know that I've put out a new video. And if you feel like being generous today, please check out my Patreon. The link will be in the description. Everything you guys send goes 100% to this channel. And it just helps get new recording gear, new editing software, just anything to help the channel function is really all it is. So thank you guys. I hope you have a great one. And I will see you in the next video, which will be my Tier 3, and that's my pack. And I'll probably put a lot of my other gear in there as well since I circulate a bunch of stuff out. So until next time, guys, I'll see you later.